Hello everyone, it is Monday, April 15th, 2019. Welcome back to the garden. If you're an American, happy tax day. That's exciting, all that paperwork and junk is finished, so why not celebrate with some fun times in the garden. Green. You can see those, I've got bags all around the garden. Let me give you your overview shot, why don't we? All right, so here we are in the third corner of the garden, and you can see things look relatively the same from last week. You'll notice I've got some of my fun doodads out, bells, the sun, my gnome, a couple other things. I'll show you some pictures of those. But it's getting to be gardening season. It's going to feel really good nowadays. These bags are out because of some of my tasks in the week ahead, which we'll get to in just a moment. But in general, things are doing fine. We had 4 inches of snow last week, and it all melted pretty quickly. All right, with the snow being gone, I'm confident that we're not going to get any more snow moving forward. So we'll talk about in the week ahead some of my tasks that are coming up. But in general, it is go time, so let's jump right in. All right, so my biggest task from last week was to take care of the raspberries that were overgrown in this section. And if you compare this shot to a shot from last week, you can really see that all this space in front of me has been cleared out. And it was really very enjoyable. I liked it so much, and it was so important that I ended up making a video and putting that out last week about how and why and when one should prune. It's definitely an important task, and now I can get through really easily. Usually when I come through on this end, what I'm able to do, and I'll pull you in for a close-up, but I can actually just remove this little clip and walk on through. Just a quick note, last week we were gone. We took some band and choir students on tour in New York City. They each got to perform. We saw a couple shows. We went to several different museums and other interesting places in New York. I loved it. New York's a pretty cool city. It's only the second time that I've been there. And I even saw one little plot of urban garden. I think it was down by Battery Park. But I definitely miss my more open spaces and my actual land and space to myself. I'm just a different kind of person than someone who lives in New York City. So if you happen to be a viewer and you live in a place like New York, how do you do it? I promised I'd talk about some of my garden things. This is one of my favorites. Got it last year. It's just, wires with beads and bells, and it spins and it makes noise. I love doodads like this. It's definitely part of my creative placemaking that I'm trying to do in the garden, adding life and whimsy and things like this in with the fruits and vegetables. Other items of note, we've got the great big sun, and the sun is like 10 feet tall or something. It's way bigger than I am. Looks pretty cool, especially as the sunflowers are growing up. I've got little things like this flower here. I think that's a copper enamel. And then I've got Norman the gnome. He's named Norman after my grandpa because it came from his garden, and he was a big gardener. I love putting doodads in the garden, don't you? All right, it is go time for gardening. So the week ahead really consists of starting my cold weather crops. Some things that are able to be planted 3 weeks before our last frost date, which is April 30th. We're like 2 weeks from that now, so we should be within our margin of tolerance. And like I said, I don't think we're getting any more snow. So first things first, later today or tomorrow in these green bags here, I've got some beautiful compost. Not full to the top because that'd be ridiculously heavy, but about halfway down. I'm going to be adding a nice layer of compost on top of these vertical spaces and the one up in the front. And I think I'm going to be sowing my sweet peas, my carrots, and spinach and lettuce this week. As a tie-in to starting the lettuce and the spinach, I need to find a spot to move these barrels. Ideally they go right behind where the camera is next to those beds, but I wanted to put some boards down for them to lay on top of first to better improve the drainage that we had on the bottom. That was something I noted from last year. I want to move these hopefully this week. It all depends on the rain that we get, but somebody made a comment about not planting certain things in here because they did potatoes last year, so I'm going to do some more research, but I thought maybe one barrel for spinach and one barrel for lettuce might be a good idea. I don't know, I'm still tinkering around with it, but that's, unless it rains every single day this week, that's another thing that's going to happen. I'm also expecting a shipment from Stark Bros Nursery with my blackberries and a blueberry bush, cranberry, asparagus, those kind of things. So if they come, again, and it's not raining, I'll be planting those this week, and you'll see content on that, probably individual videos coming out and highlights in next week's reel. So we're finally getting that kind of stuff in these garden tours. No huge change as far as what's really been growing this week. We've got the rhubarb, both different varieties that are coming up nicely. Of course, this is like the dragon rhubarb or something like that, or dinosaur rhubarb. This is a lot bigger and it comes up more full quicker than the other variety that I have. It's looking really nice. And back further in the shot, I've got a whole bunch of tiger lilies that we talked about a couple weeks ago. They're coming up wild in this area. And if I have time, I would really like to dig some of these out and transplant them in my backyard in an area where I've got all sorts of different varieties of tiger lilies clustered together. This gooseberry bush is spectacular. I had forgotten from last year how quickly this greens up. It's definitely one of the first signs of spring, along with the rhubarbs, now that I can expect year after year after year. I'm just amazed at, like I said, how much green has come even from last week. In another, what, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to see the first signs of like flowers coming on here. It's neat. Yeah, so conveniently enough, the first thing that I'm going to be harvesting from the garden this year is one of these, because I need a shallot. I don't like to buy them from the store because they're so darn expensive. And they're all like this small individual plastics. This drives me nuts. So that's more than enough for what I need for my recipe. You know, you take it from here to there, it's perfect, and then I can use the greens for other things. So that is pretty much it for what I got. I'm really excited to get some compost on here, plant those early seeds, get them watered in, and see what takes off. You know, in 7 or 14 days time, we're definitely going to see some shoots coming out of the ground, and it's really wonderful. How are things by you? I always love a comment telling me what you got planted, and I'm always amazed with the people who are in a lower cold hardiness zone, you know, like in 4 or 3B or whatever, who already have things in the ground in polytunnels and such. That's so neat to hear. It's very inspiring. And thank you also to everybody who has been listing comments for what they think I should name the garden. If you want to know what I'm talking about, watch the end of the first one of these series for 2019 and leave a suggestion down below. For the rest of 2019, you can always click this video right here at the end to check out last week's tour, see what has changed, and you can click on my belly to subscribe if you're not already done so. Spread the word, like, share, and blah, 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 because that helps. Thanks a lot. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.